Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast on the Prepper Broadcasting Network. We talk prepping, guns, and politics every week on iTunes, Stitcher, and Spotify. Go check out our content at mwfpodcast.com on Facebook or Instagram. You can support us via Patreon or by checking out our affiliate partners. I'm your host, Phil Rabalais. Andrew and Nick are on the other side of the mic, and here's your show. Welcome back to the Matter of Facts podcast. My name's Phil. This is Nick. We're going to talk about being burnt out, but a little optimistic.
Absolutely. It is the season for burnout.
Oh, Jesus Christ, isn't it, though?
It is. It is. Oh, man.
So admin work and then a whiskey-fueled bitch fest. How about we do it in that order?
True.
Starting with the patrons. The patrons support the show. They support lunacy, bad behavior, bad financial decisions occasionally. And they are in the process of participating in the... Is it the third or the fourth annual MOF Secret Santa? Third?
Let's see. I
think this is the third.
Third or fourth, yeah. Because the first year I didn't give out a cannon. I've made 2 Christmas cannons so far.
That's how Nick marks how many events, how many of these he's done, is whether he gave out cannons to people or not.
Yeah, the first year we did that I can remember you guys doing the Secret Santa, I gave my brother a cannon for Christmas. So technically I've made 3 Christmas cannons.
Christmas cannons. Only in this group. Although I have no room to talk because like my Secret Santa, I can't say what my Secret Santa is getting this year. I have always struggled with gift giving, and my lovely wife knows this about me. Like I'm just god awful at it, mostly because I'd suffer from decision paralysis.
Give me a list, prioritized, in order. I will shop from the top down of the list.
So it's not just me.
Oh God, no! God, no! Look, there are so many other things that have priority in my brain, above and beyond what remembering the one thing that you've mentioned to me 6 months ago. I don't have room in my brain for that. My wife does, and it's fantastic that she does. It's very helpful for me. No, not me.
See, the hell I run into with the hell Gillian and I run into is that I suffer from decision paralysis when it comes to gift giving. Cause like, I want to pick something that is like, makes that person feel like, wow, this person thought enough of me to get this thing for me.
Sure.
And unfortunately that the part of your brain that allows you to figure that out, I was born without. So I'm just really, lost like a goose unless my wife gives me very firm, very directed direction. And then on the flip side of things, she always asks me what I want for Christmas, and I tell her just tie a bow around herself, which she keeps vetoing that idea for some reason. But I keep telling my problem is like I'm an adult with a full-time job. So when I want something, I buy it, and if I haven't bought it, I probably can't afford it, which means if I can't afford it, neither can my wife. That's kind of how finances work.
Well, I had that discussion with my mom actually this year. She was asking me for a Christmas list, and I said, with how much I work, I just buy the things that I need. I just look. I'm 35. I've been working since I was 13. If there's something I desire that I want, and it's a reasonable budget, I'm just gonna buy it. I'm not going to wait half a year. I'm just going to get the thing.
Yeah.
And at this point, I'm 35. If it's something that I've not impulse bought for myself or something that was not required for the house for me to buy, it's probably 4 to 5 figures minimum. Right?
I mean, yeah.
So this year it's all consumable tools for my lathe. That's my entire Christmas list.
And let me guess, someone was like, that's all you want for Christmas? It's just tools?
Somebody told me, they said, well, indexable carbides aren't fun.
Yes, they are.
Have different definitions of fun.
That's like somebody telling me that ammo isn't fun. Oh, sir,
exactly.
I beg to differ.
Mm-hmm.
There is a new face in the chat. Mountain Survival.
Yeah.
I've lurked the last 2 shows. Economy took me out today. Lost my last client for my handyman business. I hate to hear
rough.
that.
Yeah.
But in the name of in the name of Christmas giving and everything else, like I think I saw earlier you were in Utah, so
Yep.
I will permit self-serving what's the word I'm looking for here, Nick? Self-promotion.
Promotion?
Self-promotion.
Yeah, throw your business name or your website in the chat. I think you can do that.
Try.
I don't know.
I don't know if Utah will pitch a hissy fit about it or not, but try.
Sometimes they get weird about links. Worst case, give us your business name. We'll throw it up.
Yeah. Anyway, doing capitalism harder. Code
Mm-hmm.
disaster coffee, which by the way, what did I tell you about ordering coffee if you don't use the MOF?
That I will be harassed mercilessly in public.
Well, you were not, but one of our good friends ordered coffee this
What?
past week. And literally within 20 minutes of ordering and me not seeing MOF, I texted him and said, "You didn't use the GD promo code." Like I am
It
trying.
would be worse if it was me though, because I've been the one writing you to tell people about it.
Oh, no. I will employ your wife
Good.
to harass you about that if it comes to that.
She's the one that will probably actually end up ordering the coffee because I will forget.
Excellent.
Yes, this is why I had 5-pound bags on automatic ship. Yes. Yes, Morgan, you can get a shout out. Throw up the name for your book. In fact, do that because I probably will want to read it.
Yeah, you might find some willing victims, or I mean, customers in this bunch. And last but not least, if you like merch, if you like shirts, if you like koozies, if you like things like that and supporting small businesses, merch is available at the Southern Gals. Links in the show description. And in the honor of this topic, this is one of my wife's favorite shirts from the Raisin Values line, Burnout but Optimistic.
Nice.
There's something about a happy little marshmallow that's on fire that just tickles my funny bone for reasons it probably shouldn't.
This has got to be the shirt that my wife gets the most comments on when she wears it. Everybody loves this shirt.
It's a vibe, isn't it?
It is. It's a great vibe. Exactly. There she is.
All right. Morgan Horde. The book is called The Kingmaker and the Caliphate. So, if you're into reading, I'm assuming fiction, since the book is about sleeper cells. Although it could be nonfiction. I mean, it is 2025.
I was going to say, I don't know that I would say for sure that it's fiction.
I mean, the line between fiction and based in nonfiction is getting thinner and grayer by the moment.
Nice. All right.
It is fiction for now.
It is fiction for now. It's also in my shopping cart.
Excellent. You can give us a book report on it at a later date.
Yeah. Once it pops in, I will try to give it a read, and we'll see. I like books about stuff like that.
Jeff Jag, it's payday today, so suggest some things I should spend money on.
Whiskey,
definitely whiskey, ammo,
coffee.
That book.
The cover of that book is just fire. By the way, love the cover of that book. Oh, you're welcome, Morgan.
All right. To topic. Burnout, fatigue, and the blues.
Everybody gets it.
Yeah. I actually recommended this because, you know, I'm not super forthcoming about my workplace because I try my best to keep my extracurricular activities and my professional life as separated as humanly possible. But work's been kind of weird this year.
Yeah?
Yeah, a lot of turnover, a lot of retirements, a lot of people leaving, not a lot of...
Getting back into the office officially, too, I believe, was this year.
Back into the office. That was actually the least objectionable part of this whole thing. I mean, other than the fact that I'm losing, 2 hours in commute and the sleep associated with that and the time with my family, that part hasn't been awful necessarily, the getting back into the office thing. The part that has been... really rough has just been the fact that our workforce has been just strip mined. We've lost I think the official word came down yesterday that we lost around a little less than a quarter of the workforce.
Oof.
And there's been
That's a problem.
No hiring to backfill those positions. So every time someone walks out the door, it's basically hand over everything you're doing to whoever's left behind. and we figure it out. And
Yeah.
that is kind of like, that's precipitating exactly what most of y'all can probably figure out, is that we're reaching a point, it's December, we have several end of the year time critical tasks, and we're just drowning in day-to-day work while trying to get those tasks done. It's becoming a compounding effect, and it's a lot of stress.
Oh, I believe that. If I remember right, back in when I was in college, we were talking about like a business management class that all the freshmen had to take, project management, I think it was called. And the professor brought up that you can afford to lose 10% of your workforce, no matter what the company does. You can lose 10% because the additional workload that you spread through that 90% is not as big of a deal. And you can hire 5 to 10% fairly easily without disrupting corporate culture and without losing too much institutional knowledge. But man, 25%, that's a lot.
Yeah.
That, that's like a Taco Bell turnover.
And the problem is that this turnover has not been even across the board. It's been certain areas we're at, I would almost say we're top heavy in some areas, because like
Sure.
those resignations didn't touch those areas, and certain areas just got like turned from a 3-person shop to a 1-person shop, or from a 3-person shop. I know one area that we had 3 people working one line of business, all 3 left.
Ooh.
So we had to quickly grab someone from another line of business, train them, and yeet them into the mall. And we've supported them as
Right.
best we can to, like,
But they're still trying to do the job of 3 people.
Yeah.
Well,
Now,
I mean, let's be realistic here. I'm sure some of the time those days were not that busy for all 3 people. That's just the nature of any work.
yeah. And kind of the killer of it is like, when you have I think there's a misconception in any organization that your goal is to minimize employee downtime, which to a certain degree, like, I understand that point of view, but like what you end up with in a situation where everyone has to run at 100% continuously without that downtime is that sooner or later the machine starts to falter. You can't run your people that hard for that long without some kind of consequence. And that's the only good thing that's come out of all this strife and this reduction in manpower, is that, like, you and I've talked much more candidly than I will on the open mic about my workplace. Sure. And
and that's reasonable.
And that for 12, 13 years now, I've been very outspoken, very loud, maybe even a little confrontational about just some of the stupid stuff that gets done, because it's always been done that way.
Yeah.
And the one positive that is coming out of all this is that out of sheer necessity now, there's almost nothing not on the table. So there are, like, we're getting money loosened up to do massive system improvements, to do automations, to do things I've wanted to do for years, but the answer was always
right, because before you had the brute force solution of the manpower, which you no longer have.
And because of that, it's forcing innovation. Now, unfortunately, it's forcing innovation at warp speed at exactly the time where the people who have the institutional knowledge that have to be on hand to help build the automation also have to keep the machine running while
That's
we're rebuilding.
Problematic.
Yeah, it's literally like trying to rebuild your engine while driving down the highway. It's quite a situation.
In my opinion, it beats building all the automation and then laying the people off.
This is true. There is merit to that. I guess what I'm
as
saying
a worker myself,
I guess what I'm saying is, like, if there's one silver lining to this ugly dark cloud, it is that for the first time in my career, I can throw something out there, and if I can prove, hey, this saves time, this is more efficient, I am getting greenlit to implement things at a pace never seen before. So it's one of those situations where, like, yes, the way this is being done is painful, but the end result might wind up being better if we can all go out the other side of it. So,
well, sure.
But in the meantime, I'm not going to lie, we're tired. I'm tired.
Oh, I bet.
And it's not just me. Like, my daughter started high school this year, so she's been pretty much coming home straight to the shower, straight to PJs, not going to bed, but like, just full on screw the world, screw everybody. I need to decompress mode, which is fair.
Yeah, I remember high school.
Yeah, well, and she's an eighth grader taking all ninth grade and AP classes. She's
That's rough.
Yeah, and she's brilliant, so she's handling it intellectually, but it's a lot of work. And my wife is, a school teacher, which I don't have to tell y'all. Your wife's a school teacher. There's up to a certain point in the year where there's not a lot of breaks, if any. The teachers just get wrung the hell out, really, until about Thanksgiving, when they get that first little chunk of time off. And then after Christmas, it's like, a couple of weeks off, work for a few weeks, couple weeks off. And like, it's basically like, if I could just make the spring break without killing a child, I'll be okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I've heard that. See, unfortunately for my wife, fortunately or unfortunately, she works through most of those breaks because she's actually part of the before and after school program. So that 2 weeks that they're closed for Christmas, some of the kids are still there, like 8 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Ouch.
So, yeah, well, comes with the territory, I suppose.
Yeah. I mean, there's ups and downs to all of it. But like I said, I mean, that is, and not making excuses. We also, you were supposed to remind me, we were supposed to tell everybody that for the patrons who aren't in the patron chat and don't log into Patreon, but if you're a paying member of the show and if you kick in $1 a month, then you should be aware that on Patreon is the information for the 2026 MOF summer camp. And if you haven't already heard, you should log into Patreon right now and avail yourself of that. And shoot me a message through Patreon if I haven't already talked to you and you're planning on coming. And if you have no earthly idea what I'm talking about, sorry, you're not one of the cool kids. Maybe next year.
Yep.
But anyway.
Pop into the patron.
But one of the things that is my responsibility as the head cat wrangler for the show is I am supposed to lead the charge on where are we doing summer camp next year. And we were supposed to have made the decision at least 4 months ago. So I've told everybody I've talked to in the process of getting this together very quickly, totally my fault. I let it slide. There's been a lot of stuff going on in the house, a lot of stuff with Gillian's family, and I let it slide. Every time I would get to the point of, okay, the house isn't on fire, everyone's fed, everyone's clean, everything's dealt with, I've got 5 minutes to myself. That should have been 5 minutes I just took to hey, Gillian, let's sit down and figure out where we're going to do summer camp. Let's talk to everybody and get reservations made. And instead it wound up being 5 minutes. I just stared at the wall because I was just exhausted. And that's on me.
Sometimes you need that, though.
Yes, but two things. So I had this thought right before the show. Why high performers struggle. I think high performers struggle with burnout maybe worse, which doesn't say that they're more susceptible or they feel it worse or get it more often. But here's why I think high performers struggle with burnout harder than otherwise.
Okay.
Because on the one hand, my normal pace is foot to the floor, engine on the red line, go, 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 go until I'm exhausted. It's just Captain Neurodivergence. It's the way my brain works. I don't know how to do that whole, modulate your gas pedal thing most people do. It's either all the way down or all the way off.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one problem. Now, I feel like that kind of leads me down the road of burnout more often because I'm just constantly pushing as hard as I can until I have to take a break. But I think...
Yeah, I could see that being a problem.
But I think the other problem I have, and I suspect you have, and I suspect a lot of people have you ever gotten to the point of you feel like, damn, I'm having a really rough day, but you're almost embarrassed to complain because somebody's got it worse. Even as I think,
or because that if you don't do it, you're just going to make tomorrow harder.
Yeah. So, and this is where I personally get really bound up. I feel like the biggest dirtbag complaining about anything because I know people right now, today, good friends of ours who are having a rough time.
Yep.
Health problems, dealing with their own issues at work, struggles in their lives. And as soon as I open my mouth to say, damn, I'm having a rough time, I immediately think of those people and I'm like, God, I am a crap basket if I even like voice this, because that other person's got it worse than I do. I should just suck it up, quit being a girl about it.
There is that impulse, yeah.
Yeah. That's I suspect, especially like for high performers, for people that are very self-reliant, for people that are very independent, I suspect people that fall into those buckets probably struggle with burnout worse, because the simple act of venting, which can be therapeutic at times, also kind of feels a little bit voyeuristic to people that are in that bucket. It's like, I don't want to complain about it because I feel like I shouldn't complain. I should just suck it up.
Well, and in some cases, you just don't want the attention.
That's another good one.
You know, because great. Now I have to, in depth, explain everything that's going on, why it is a problem, and then deal with their emotional response to it.
Yeah.
Sometimes that just adds a whole nother level of problem you have to deal with.
And especially if you are one of the tribe of neurodivergent people, like other people's emotions, like I barely understand my own emotions most of the time. So being able to like deal with someone else's emotions is already a struggle for me. So it's like, like when I feel like I'm getting sympathy, I have a hard time telling the difference between sympathy and pity. And I hate being pitied.
Yep.
I can't distinguish between a person who's commiserating and a person who's almost like, I don't know what the word is, but like, have you ever met that person? Like whenever you talk about something going on in your life, they've got something 10 times worse they got to bring up to like shift the folks back to them.
Yeah.
I can't.
We got a guy at work like that.
But it's hard for me to tell the difference. So like I get into this mode where I'm dealing with that other person's emotions and they're trying to like relate to me where I can't.
They may be trying to empathize, but it comes off as, well, wait till you hear about this.
But there lies the problem. Me knowing that I can't tell the difference, it leaves it up to me as like, okay, how do I want to take this? Because I can't tell the difference. So how do I want to take this? And if I choose to like give that person the benefit of doubt, which is what I usually do because I try not to assume malice, but then it means I'm wide open. It makes
the day easier when you do that.
But then it also means I'm wide open to somebody like, being malicious because I just blank it out and say, nah, they don't really mean that.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's just, I have that thought sometimes of like, why, like, I don't feel like I get burnout more often than other people do, or that my burnout is any worse than anybody else's. But I do feel like it's difficult for me to like, it's easy for me to deal with it by myself. It's much more difficult for me to express that to somebody else. Like I just don't want to.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. I don't know that. I think everybody gets it. I think that people that are very self-motivated have a much harder time backing off. And they will push themselves through the earlier symptoms of burnout. They will just keep pushing and then make it worse on themselves because, well, it's got to get done. Somebody has to do it. It's going to be me. Right?
I swear to Christ, my wife is listening to this. She's roller garage because she's heard exactly those words come out of my mouth.
Oh, yeah. Well, we're not terribly dissimilar individuals. In fact, my wife has more than once said that listening to you sounds a lot like listening to me.
Mine too.
Yeah. Yeah. Whoops.
We're
both nerds that married school teachers. Whoops.
I'm sure there's a psychological study to be done there.
Believe it or not, there's this really weird thing with tool makers that I know a fair amount of tool makers, and there's not a whole lot of us out there. Almost every one of us that I know is either married to a school teacher, a daycare provider, or a before and after school program coordinator of some kind.
Okay, so side note, I have joked out loud, and I get a mixed reaction depending on what room I'm in. But I have joked out loud that it's such a good thing that I married a woman who has experience dealing with special needs children.
Yeah, Jeff, right. Machinists and nurses, too. Weird combination that seems to just wildly prevalent. Probably because machinists meet a lot of nurses getting stitches.
Hmm. And Gillian literally like came right out of college straight to Audubon Nature Institute to work as an informal educator. She's literally been teaching. Well, she went from that to a school to the Children's Museum back to the school. She's been working with children since she was 22 years old.
Excellent preparation for you.
Excellent preparation for me. Could not have asked for better better training program to deal with special needs children than to have a special needs husband.
Mm-hmm.
Emphasis on the word special.
Could be worse.
But anyway,
could be one of the train guys.
Oh no, I'm not a train guy. I have my own forms of autism, but not trains. Although I did happen across an Instagram channel that sucked like 25 minutes of my soul out because it was nothing but gigantic old engines. Like, think like the huge old engines they used to have running like mills and stuff, like back front of the century.
Oh, the old steam engines that I was sending you? You're welcome.
Yeah, that was 25 minutes of my life just scrolling one after another after another. There's all these gigantic old engines and stuff, pistons the size of freaking trash cans.
If there's one good reason for you to come to Illinois, it's the Sycamore Steam Tractor Show.
Unfortunately, I don't think we had too much of that cool stuff down here because we had people working the fields for a lot.
You did. But up here, we had really cool steam tractors. I think the biggest one they had there last time I went was about 2 years ago. The wheels, the steel wheels for it were between 10 or 12 feet tall. I can't remember.
Impressive.
But they were, the treads on the wheels were 26 inches wide.
Yeah. Makes me wonder what the ground pressure was.
Don't know. 75 horsepower, though.
Oh, and Raggle Fraggle was hearing what I said and saying, oof. So, I understand. Historically accurate, but also it is worth pointing out that I can't think of many true Cajuns that had slaves because they cost too much damn money and we were dirt poor.
That is the thing the Cajuns have going for them is too broke,
no slaves, lots of kids, oddly enough, which is kind of the same thing.
Well, I mean, look at Midwestern farming families, too. They all had a dozen kids because about 6 of them would make it to adulthood due to farming accidents and other things.
Yeah. Ooh. Anyway. So, what is just passing and when does it become a problem? And I don't feel... I would be interested to see if you and I can come to a good consensus on this because, like... My own experience is that like there have been periods in my life, think of like military deployments and everything else, where like taking a knee was not really an option. Like I hate to say it didn't matter how bad it sucked, but it really didn't matter how bad it sucked. I was going to have to just, like ramrod it further down and just keep on plowing ahead until, post-traumatic stress disorder and counseling afterwards. But there was no opportunity in that environment to say, I'm having a problem. And even though I'm sure I could have vented about it to all the guys I was with, they were all dealing with the exact same problem I was, which may, again, going back to what I said before.
There is some benefit to commiserating, but...
Yeah, but at the same time, like, how do you complain to the guy that just lived through the exact same thing you did that it's bothering you when it's bothering him too?
Horribly dark jokes.
I mean, there's a correlation between horribly dark jokes in the military and first responders and just people with a really dark sense of humor. Maybe this is why the whole idea of racism has always fallen flat with me, because I think to myself, I'm like, I have said the most awful things humanly possible to friends of mine that I serve with, and they've said twice as bad back to me, and no one ever got their feelings hurt.
It's the intention of what you say, though.
Oh, good. When this microphone turns off, I should fill you in on some of the Jew jokes I threw down on a friend of mine.
You should hear some of the Jew jokes my buddy's grandma used to rattle off, and she is Jewish.
This dude was Jewish and Italian. I had him over.
There's some material.
Oh yeah, I had him over the barrel. It was.
Well,
awful.
You got good friends when they're making those kind of jokes.
Yeah. but he could dish it out just as well as he could take it. Trust me.
Good, good. Oh, that's important. I mean, being able to mock each other is a great way to relieve stress. Because
Yeah,
having a good laugh at your own expense sometimes is fantastic for you.
it
You
is.
know, I do think that there's another situation that applies really closely with your situation in the military where you couldn't really complain and couldn't really take a knee on it. Financial stress,
Yeah,
burnout from just not being able to either through your own designs or ill fortune make your budget balance.
yeah, and I feel like we've seen a lot of this in society recently, where people get into this new thing called doom spending, where it's like my
Mm-hmm.
finances are
I'm
screwed, so
fucked anyway, so I'm gonna.
yeah, let me screw it up even
Yeah,
worse. And it's like, I
I'll
mean,
never get out, so why should I even try?
yeah, it's like the guy that has a drinking problem locking himself in a brewery. It's like, I
Mm-hmm.
understand that this is a reaction to the stress and the hopelessness of the situation, but it's actually making the situation a lot worse in the process.
Absolutely.
But you're right. I mean, when you talk about financial stress, most people's reaction is like, well, if I could just like loosen the reins a little bit and spend some money and, go on a vacation or buy that thing that I've been wanting, it would let me like get over this little hump. But then that blows your budget in half for a couple of months, or you put it on a credit card,
Mm-hmm.
pay interest on it, and it compounds the original problem, because
It does.
the very thing you did as a stress relief is what caused the problem that generated the stress.
Right. If not originally, your response to the stress created more. You know, I think where it becomes a problem is where healthy coping mechanisms no longer work. Then it's not passing anymore.
I would give it that, and and I guess probably to the same point, I would say that when either the stress or the reaction to the stress impacts your ability to adult.
Mm-hmm.
It's like whiskey and 7 Up. Everybody that knows me knows I am a very occasional drinker. I have bottles of whiskey sitting over there on the shelf that are literally 4 years old because I just don't drink super often. Like, if you
Mm-hmm.
buy me a bottle for an occasion, it will probably be a year and a half old before it gets cracked open, and probably a year and a half after that, it'll get finished off. But I've known people over the years that, like, they'll stop and get a fifth on the way home. It'll be gone by the next morning.
Eesh, that's not great.
And here's the problem. The first time you get so shithoused hammered that you get a DUI, or you miss work, or you don't miss work, you're a functional alcoholic, but you blow hot because you had an accident at work and you lose your job. Like, the minute this starts to affect your ability to handle adult responsibilities, I think we've reached a point where it's obviously a problem. But
Yeah, I
you
think it's
could
undeniably a problem at that point.
But then the gray area is, what happens if you're stressed? You're not like drinking, you're not doing cocaine, you're not, you have needle tracks on your arms, nothing too crazy. You're still making it to work, but now you're fighting with your coworkers, you're getting into arguments, you're short-sighted, you're short-tempered, you're arguing with people. Like, what happens when it is obviously affecting your performance at work. It's affecting your work
Mm-hmm.
relationships, but it hasn't risen to the point of like a full-blown blowout or blowover. But obviously it's starting to creep in. And by the way, this works in the exact opposite, because like Gillian and I've worked really hard over the years, and so have my wife, to leave work at work, to
Yeah,
not come home and be like in a mood because of some stupid stuff. And
it can be very difficult to do.
it can be extremely difficult to do. Like, I am the first one to say that anybody that knows me knows I will tell you what I think is the right thing to do.
Mm-hmm.
I will say in the same breath, I don't always manage to rise to that level. I
Yeah,
try. I really try hard. I do my best to stick to it. But when I don't practice what I preach, it's not an act of omission. It's just failure. I'm human.
oh
Sometimes
yeah, we
things get
we,
to
we
me
all fail at that, and that's one of the problems I have with work from home.
because there's no separation.
Right, you lose that boundary, you lose that barrier. I mean, sometimes what I really need is the 10-minute or 15-minute drive home just to clear my head. No radio on, nothing I have to be focused on other than not wrecking the vehicle.
So I will say
And
that having worked from home and worked from an office,
Mm-hmm.
I will say that what has always made it work for me is I cocoon myself. Like this room that the podcast takes place in. When I was working from home, my work laptop was right here
Ah,
on this L-shaped desk. So I would do my work on the laptop and the second monitor, and then sometimes I would literally work, shut this down, turn 90 degrees, and start podcasting. Like there were days where just I'd be working late or I'd be working on a weekend, things would just bub against each other, and that's how it would happen. But what I worked really hard to do was I would work in here, and the only two things I do in this office, other than store stuff, like all on the shelves behind me, is podcast and work.
fair.
So I didn't do that thing where like I'd go work on the dining room table or I'd go sit on the couch.
Yeah, you created your own artificial separation.
Exactly. So that when I left this room, work stayed here.
Good.
And fortunately, my wife and I schedule was such that like I usually had about a half hour before she would get home. So I had that time to decompress, take a deep breath, let it all out before she would get home. Of course, that meant she sometimes had to have a half hour when she got home. And, you know, sometimes I was in that situation where I would be like super happy and upbeat and, you know, ready to talk.
She's still burned out from the day.
Yeah.
Hey, it happens.
Jeff Jackson got to use the code.
That's all right.
Shame.
I mean, call it a charitable donation.
Yeah, I mean, I'll call it a charitable donation, but I'm really trying to screw up capitalism by giving y'all a discount. You know, just saying.
Yeah, Braggle. Life is hard sometimes. It is. It is. You know, it's some days just going to be rough. Nothing you can do about it, but get through it sometimes.
Yeah. So we kind of already started talking about how to mitigate burnout. Like, you know, having separation between the stress and your personal life, trying to compartmentalize. Compartmentalization's a beautiful thing if you do it. Some people can't. And like, I don't know how that works where you can't compartmentalize things, but I'm told some people cannot.
Yeah. I don't know how that works either. I'm good at compartmentalizing to the point where it's bad. If I am told something at work, I have the good fortune of working with some family members of mine, and if they tell me something family related at work, by the time I get out of my truck at home, it's gone. It's completely out of my brain.
So I don't work with any family members, but I have goldfish memory. And what I have done is I take this little murder screen and I've turned this into my own personal little don't forget anything. Like I literally tell people in the middle of my wife and I having a conversation, or my daughter or anybody else, I will just pull my phone out and start typing on it. And people think I'm being rude. I'm like, no. Exactly the thing.
I'm making notes.
I am making a note. The reminders app on the phone.
Love that.
You can put a reminder in. You can put it in a different. You can put whatever list you want in. You can actually put a date and time for it to remind you, and then that shows.
You can do calendar. A geolocation.
Yes, and you better believe, bud. I have literally I have used the reminders app to the fullest extent. If I ever lose my phone, I'm done. I'm completely done. But I'm the same way at work. Like my calendar, my boss just happened to walk in my office one day while I was like, you know, arranging things on the calendar, and she was shocked because she knows, like, because of the level I'm in, we're in a lot of the same meetings, but she's in a lot of executive meetings I'm not invited to. And there was one particular day I had more stuff on my calendar than she did, and she was like, "What in the hell?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, you know, this, and this are the meetings I'm in with you. And then this, and this are reminders to me to do these things that I like set these reminders weeks ago." Matter of fact, I clocked in work this past Monday and I had a reminder to get to do something. I don't remember putting the reminder on the calendar. I don't remember what it was that prompted me to do that. But at some point in the past, I thought it was really, really important I check this one thing on this day at this time. So I didn't question things. I just did. But like
past me was looking out for future me.
That level of neurotic organization is the only way I overcome an awful freaking memory. And some of it's also just tunnel vision, because like I get so laser focused on something, I forget everything. I lose track of time. I ate my breakfast today at like almost lunchtime.
Oops.
Well, you and I've had this talk. I'm not quite
Got going.
pre-diabetic. I'm hypoglycemic. So like me skipping
Mm-hmm.
meals is not really a good idea. And I've
Yep.
been sticking to my diet of like eggs, sausage or sausage, bacon or pepperoni, and a big old fistful of cheese. That's my breakfast almost every morning. All the fat and
Yeah.
protein works to stabilize my blood sugar.
Mm-hmm.
And I
Slow release energy.
Yep, and I didn't eat until like 11:30 because I got into work at 6 o'clock in the morning. I was trying to code a mainframe report. It's not for anybody that's actually done any amount of coding. It's not like to the level of complexity of like, building an application or building a whole web page or anything crazy like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it is writing out strings of code and logical statements. And like, at least my process for doing it is I literally will like start a Word document, write out in plain speech what I want to do, and
Sure.
then write all the code and then save that. And then I will actually go run it into the mainframe and test it. And then like compare the results and say, okay, I need to move this or I need to move that, or this didn't work, or
Mm-hmm.
the report exploded. It's a process. It takes a couple of hours depending on the level of complexity of the report I'm trying to build.
And it can be very difficult to recover where you were if you get up and walk away.
Oh no. Everybody in the office knows that if I have both my if I have an earbud in listening to podcast and my left ear, which is the one facing out of the cubicle, is
Mm-hmm.
open, everyone knows you can come in, just strike up a conversation with me. If both earbuds are in, everyone
Do not.
knows. No. They all know, tap me on the shoulder and be prepared to be told, come back later.
Yep.
Like, unless the building is freaking on fire or you are my literal boss, now is not the time, because I am focused in on something. I'm locked in. I do not
Mm-hmm.
have the bandwidth to do this and answer your question. Because if I answer your
Yeah.
question, all this that I was thinking about just evacuated the building. So it's one of those situations where it's like, I jumped in, I was pushing hard, I was trying to get it done before my boss got to work. She got to work early, and about an hour after she got in, I had this report done.
Nice.
And then I had to present it to her. We had to do some reconciliation activities. That was the whole reason I built the report in the first place. But between that task and just various things that piled up, I didn't even think to eat breakfast until 11:30 in the morning, because I was just pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
I got so focused on things. And that's part of the reason why I put all those calendar reminders on my calendar with timestamps, with reminders, because I need something to jump up on the screen and say, hey, dummy, you're supposed to do something right now. Because if not, it's not going to happen.
It makes a lot of sense. I mean, and that can help you with the burnout too. I think is you have that mental load of trying to retain all of that outsourced to an automated system.
Yeah. And sometimes I think it honestly makes the burnout worse. Like,
I could see where it might.
To be able to offload the task of remembering all this stuff, yes, that does lessen load. But the way my brain works is not like, oh yeah, I get to run at 90% now. It's like, woohoo, we get 10% more stuff to yeet into the problem. So then it's just, it goes back to like what I said in the first place. And I know I'm not unique in this amongst neurodivergent people, but like the throttle is either stuck to the floor with the engine bouncing off the red line and your valves tap dancing on the hood, or you're in park, keys out of the ignition, and everything's stopped, and there's just almost no middle ground.
Interesting.
That might be a thing of like high functioning autism. It might be ADHD. I don't know. We need to get Eddie on the show to talk about neurodivergence, because I feel like that applied to a not insignificant part of our audience.
Probably.
But I don't know, man. I mean, like, to your point, being able to offload some tasks to automations, to calendars, to automated reminders, that can certainly help. What I find is probably my greatest hedge against burnout and fatigue. I mean, as corny as it sounds, it's just family time. Like, being with my wife and daughter unwinds me like nothing else does. Going to the gun range is fun, but it's not, it's still, I'm going for a task, I'm going to train, I'm going for this. Like, I'm not the guy.
It's purposeful training, it's not recreation.
Yeah. And even if it's something like, probably the only thing I do that is true, like, I don't want to say just fun, but like precision rifle shooting. 100
Mm-hmm.
yards, smallest group, sitting on a bipod, locked into him behind a scope. That kind of exercise is very therapeutic for me because it's very like it forces you to slow down, it forces you to quiet your mind, it forces you to focus on your breathing. It forces me to do everything my brain doesn't normally do.
Do you have a buddy that shoots precision rifles nearby you?
No.
Okay. You need to find one so that you guys can play darts with your rifles.
Huh.
It's phenomenally fun. It is very relaxing, and it's pretty good training that doesn't feel like training.
I
That
mean,
was me and a coworker of mine used to do that sometimes on Fridays. We'd get together and we'd drive up to the shooting range and we'd play darts at 300 yards with like just a dartboard, normal dartboard sized target at 300 yards with our rifles.
Raggle is probably the closest person I can think of to me. He's
Good.
he's only a couple hours away from me.
Yeah. You just bring a pick a dart game. Doesn't matter what dart game it is.
Good, because I
They
don't
all
know how to play
require
any
called
of them.
hits. Well, you can print off rules for them. It's pretty easy. I mean, it's still a ballistic sport either way. But, then you get to shoot a 300 Win Mag and maybe you're calling twos. It's a little bit. I found it was better for training precision than just shooting at a bullseye because you're not focused on the same point every time.
Mm-hmm.
It was a lot of fun.
So, is there anything else we can think of for mitigation? Because, I'm not gonna
Exercise.
lie. Ooh, that is a good one.
Exercise. If your brain is fatigued because of all of the things you're doing and your body is not, man, does that not feel good?
In the name of being only half joking and being kind of fairly serious, no. I was going to say chemical substances, but that has a weird connotation for some people.
What?
I would say that if you're on the spectrum, coffee and just caffeine in general does kind of have that effect of temporarily slowing you down. It sounds counterintuitive, but it's the same reason why Adderall is basically amphetamines.
Yeah, it really just improves your focus instead of giving you more energy.
Yeah. So for me, a big dose of coffee, it just takes it. It's like being in a room full of people talking and putting on noise canceling headphones. It quiets everything down. Can be very useful.
I find exercise is helpful. Getting outside is helpful. This year we had Canadian wildfire smoke and I have asthma. So I didn't get to enjoy much of the outside without having breathing issues, which sucks. Can't do much about that.
I will say just going outside, touching grass.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to be real honest with you. Part of the reason why I love camping and hiking is just to be outside. Now, part of that could also be because, my day job involves sitting in front of a computer under fluorescent light for 9.5 hours a day. So when I get time off, I desperately just want to be outside. I just want to be outside. I want to breathe fresh air. I want sunshine on my face. It is the lamest sounding stuff on earth, but truly, I just want to be outside, which is the exact opposite of when I worked outside, when all I wanted to do on a day off was just sit in the house in the air conditioning. But I guess all things in balance.
Exactly. It's all about adding a little bit of balance to your life.
So then what about recovery? I got some shit for this because for that personality that doesn't do mitigation very well, I have to focus on recovery. For a lot of us that are first responders, military, law enforcement, in the moment where the stress gets the worst, you don't have the option to take the knee. You have to stand up and perform. So recovery becomes your only avenue out because you can't mitigate it in the moment. You can't take a step back. You have to deal with the problem in hand. So I find that in those situations, for me, I'll be the first to admit that when things get to a certain level, counseling is a beautiful thing. And I will say that before I went to counseling for the first time, I thought it was the most hippie nonsense on earth. I put no stock in it. I thought it was for weaklings and everything else. And
Sure.
after getting diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder and after 9 months of counseling, I came away with a completely different perspective on what counseling really was. Because it wasn't sitting on a couch and crying my eyes out about stuff. It was literally having a conversation with a counselor and talking through things I was experiencing and how I felt. And a lot of times that in and of itself was a revelation, because it was difficult for me to like look back, reflect on those things and think, how did that make me feel? Because in the moment, I just ramrodded it down and kept doing the job.
Well, yeah, there's very little time in a combat environment to deal with that.
Or to even
Probably
acknowledge
the
it.
only survival mechanism is to not deal with it.
Yeah, well, I mean, even deal with it or just acknowledge it. Like there are moments in time where, like, to even admit, oh, that really upset me, or oh, that really scared me. That's like giving your fear a name. Like, I cannot even acknowledge that bothered me right now, because if I do, this whole thing I'm operating under, where it's like pedal to the floor, get the mission done, that will fall apart.
Sure,
I can't.
That makes sense.
It sounds like the most. It sounds like macho He-Man, bullcrap to say that, but like, for the people that have been in those situations, I think you understand where I'm going with this. It's like, in this moment, I don't have a choice. I have to hold it together, because if I don't, someone else has to pay the price for me falling apart. So I'll deal with it later. And then later might be 12 to 16 months from now. And after that amount of time, I know in the moment I didn't feel good, but what was it I was feeling?
Yeah.
And, a lot of what I dealt with in counseling was also just like things were happening in my life that were just daily things. Person would cut me off in the interstate and slam on their brakes and brake check me. Happens to probably 50 million people a day in this country. But to me, I reacted with, like, my first impulse was foot on the gas, ram them, knock them off the road, because that was the way I was trained.
And that was the thing that kept you alive. So yeah, your brain's going to default to stay alive.
Yep. But it was trying to talk through those emotions and talk through that to realize that, like, okay, there's a disconnect here between the stimulus and how I felt about it. Like, this didn't necessarily merit this, even though this would have been really, really, really good, feeling good for a moment to ram somebody off the road that was brake checking me. Probably not socially acceptable or appropriate in today's day and age.
Yeah, they probably weren't instigating an ambush on I-30.
Yet.
Just saying. They probably were not.
Yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I say if you get to that point where you need counseling, then don't be shy about going. And in the meantime, like, if you're not at the point of wanting to go talk to a professional, I'm going to tell you that I have never had a friend, like a close personal friend, come to me and want to talk, and me turn them away and say, just shut up, quit crying, you'll be all right. Like, and we've had that in our group of friends where somebody said, hey, I'm having a rough time right now. And every one of us has been willing to let that person vent, let it out, encourage them, try to get them back on track. And it's never been quit crying and just get over it. It's always been, hey, let's acknowledge the emotions. Let's acknowledge that you feel downtrodden, but let's refocus your effort to something that can make the situation better, so you don't just wallow in it.
Or at the very least, not make the situation worse.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, if not improve it, definitely don't make it worse.
Yeah, it's believe it or not, you can almost always make things worse. It's pretty hard to find a situation that can't be made worse by your own actions taken in, say, in haste or in without thinking things through. Jeff, counterpoint, maybe it would fix their driving manners. I mean, it's possible. The state frowns upon us forcibly adjusting the attitudes of other drivers. But
I kind of can't disagree with Jeff. It's worth, tolerance and being polite has not obviously worked. So maybe choosing violence every now and then would solve the
Look,
problem.
we've all thought about buying that $1,000 shitbox pickup just because the next guy that brake checks me, I can lose this truck.
I used to drive that $1,000 shitbox. I think all of us had that $1,000 shitbox
Oh,
truck.
yeah.
And tell me you didn't drive like you were driving an armored personnel carrier when you had it, because you were always just like, "Hey, if you like your car less than I like mine."
Yeah, definitely. Like, if you really want to cut me off, my brakes are shit anyway.
Yeah,
It's an S10 and my front brakes don't work.
that's a pretty little car. I bet it came with a really nice collision policy.
Oh yeah.
Except in your neck of the woods, sometimes it doesn't.
Well, Illinois is weird.
All
If
states
you're
are
a
weird.
citizen, you're required to have insurance.
Mm. But
I'm just gonna leave that there.
yeah. Yep, Jeff's on it. I can afford this. Can you?
Right?
But yeah.
We all had that buddy in high school that had the shitbox Suburban with the big welded on bumper from shop class. That guy didn't hit the brakes all that often when he got cut off.
Raggle saying invest another 1,000 into a well-built bumper and you can do it more than once.
Accurate. My grandfather used to have these 57 step side pickups. Phil, are you familiar with a Chevy 57 step side?
I have a mental image right now, yes.
It's a solid 1/4 inch of steel pretty much everywhere on that pickup. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know necessarily about armor plating, but you definitely, if you get smacked with one of those, you're definitely going to remember the experience.
You can take a baseball bat to those and not dent them. He put a big old, what was it, 6x4 box channel bumper on the front and rear
Spicy.
with some nasty tow hooks sticking out underneath them. We were sitting at a stoplight one time, and this little, I want to say it was like a Pontiac Sunfire. It was one of those little scoop nose cars.
Oh, so it was a plastic fantastic. Awesome.
Oh, yeah. He hit it so hard, that car wedged underneath that bumper, picked the rear wheels up off the ground. Well, when they went to pull the car out from under there, those tow hooks dug in through the that little air scoop.
Yeah.
Pulled off the hood, pulled off the radiator, ripped every hose and wire off the top of that car, and took the bumper as well. It was amazing. Scratched the paint on that 57 step side.
They don't build them like that anymore, unfortunately.
No, they do not. Largely because, well, when you got into a serious accident, everybody turned into like
Jello.
paint inside the vehicle. Because the vehicle didn't move, so you were gonna.
I mean, they should have allowed 5-point harnesses in vehicles years ago.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so what else? What else can we throw into recovery? I mean, I
think
say
everybody has to find their own ways, like what works for them to recover. It's like what works for me, it's probably not going to work for everybody. I love playing around with my little lathe. That's worked to a lot of people.
One thing I will say is ubiquitous across the board, though, is the support system.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tell you that if you're out there in listener land and like you don't have some close family members, spouse, close friend, brother, sister, best friend since high school, like if you don't have someone, this is the best way I've ever heard it put, and this is a perfect analogy. Nick, do you know what an 8 p.m. friend is?
Yes.
That's a person you can call at 8 p.m. and they will answer their phone.
Mm-hmm.
How many 2 a.m. friends do you have?
One.
So you have one person in your life that and I'm assuming other than your wife.
Yeah. Other than my spouse, yeah.
But you have that one person that at 2:00 in the morning, if you call and you say, "Bubba, I need help," they're coming to you with a gun and a shovel. No questions asked, like just ready for war.
Absolutely.
I would say outside of our group of friends that are a little too distributed across the country to be totally useful, I probably only have one 2 a.m. friend. Like, I know that if I call him day or night, tell him I'm screwed, he's coming to me with as a one man army. Everyone
Good.
needs that 2 a.m. friend in their life. And if you
And
don't,
everybody should be that 2 a.m. friend for somebody.
yep. And if you don't have that person, go find them.
Mm-hmm.
Because a strong support system, a group of people who will they'll prop you up when you're down, they'll sing your praises when you're up, they'll support you, they'll bully you, they'll browbeat you, they'll berate you, they'll call you names, but they will be there. Like, if someone picks on you, they're ready to go to war over it.
Mm-hmm.
But they'll call you everything but late for dinner. That group of people is so freaking important to fighting against burnout and recovering from it and dealing with it, because they will be your cheerleaders when you're down. And they will also be the person who, when you're up and you're high on life, they will call you a fat sack of crap and tell you to, quit. Oh, you ain't shit. You need to go to the gym.
Bring
You're
you
20
right
pounds
back
over.
to reality.
Yes, they will be your reality check. They will be there to bring you back to center, no matter what. And if you're off the path, if you're screwing up, if you're being a douche canoe, if you're letting down your family, your obligations, they will be there to tell you, like, dude, you need to tighten up a little bit.
Yep.
Find those people in your life, find your tribe, and I promise you that'll do you more good fighting against burnout than anything else in the world. No amount of booze, no amount of coffee, no amount of doom spending, no amount of any coping mechanism out there will be as helpful to you as a safety net, as a support system.
Yep. I agree.
So, all this to say that I have been burnt out for a while. And I'm not the only one. We've got a good friend of ours who's works for the same bunch of psychopaths I do and is dealing with exactly the same problems, in some ways worse. Honestly, in a lot of ways, he's got it worse than I do most days, which is exactly what I was talking about earlier. Like, I almost feel ashamed to say, like, oh, wow, we lost a quarter of our workforce. We're really struggling, because it's like he's been living that for years now. And it's just getting worse.
Yeah, it's and unfortunately, once a company or a government department starts down that spiral, it gets harder to hire for it because there's such a high demand.
Yeah. And then when it gets really tricky to bring people in, and it's like it's like trying to hire people when the building's on fire.
Yep.
People walk in the front door, look around and say, deuces.
Exactly. We're not finishing our 90 days.
Yeah.
No.
But
they're not invested, so why would they stick around?
And at the same time, like, this is not just like my workplace. This is a lot of workplaces right now. Like, if you're in that boat where, the work's piling up, the staff all left, and the building's on fire, like, I will only intone to you what my boss, not my boss, my boss's boss's boss, the head of the agency, said to me. He was very frank about the fact that we're going to face hard times in the near future. There's way too much work, way too few people, hiring freeze. Everything that can go against us is going against us right now. But he was also very frank about the fact that we are in the process, and not just, like him giving lip service, but like we are all at the ground floor in the process of building the thing that's going to come out of this. We are ripping apart old processes from the 1990s and replacing them with either nothing because they don't need to be done, or automation, or a better way to do it. We are innovating every day. We're building the new normal in real time. And what we build coming out of this is going to outlive us. We're going to build the workplace that carries forward in the future. We get to do it. Not just maintain, not just like this is the way it's been done for 20 years. I'm just cogging the machine. Like, I get to rebuild the machine as I go. So that's happening. That's something positive to look forward to. But it is hard to complain about it, knowing people in the same boat or worse, people that are having health problems right now that we know. It's really hard to like put your hand up and say, yeah, I've been struggling a little bit. Things been hard.
Yeah, it definitely can be.
Yeah.
That's why your support system's important.
Yeah, including this bunch of nutcases that comes and listens every week. Because believe me when I tell y'all, there have been times where this has also been one of those things where I've been burnt out on, and I've had to be like, oh, do I really still want to do this? And then usually it's like you or Andrew or one of the patrons or somebody else is like, you ain't quitting yet. Get your fat ass back behind the microphone. And here we are.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? The folks in the Patreon chat are a good support network. They really are. They're great people. And if you got something you need to talk to people about, it's not a bad place to do it. Yeah, we might be a little nutty, but they're good people.
All right. Well, as we go to wrap this up, we got a couple of back end admin things to deal with. Like we said, the 2026 Matter of Fact Summer Camp patrons, if you go to Patreon, you will find the information. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, reach out and I'll school you up. But
we'll get you.
Yeah, most of the patrons are in that Signal chat on Patreon, or they're in the Signal chat. A bunch of people have already made the reservations, and I expect just as much tomfoolery and horsing around as usual. But I will just say that, like, for the people that are relatively new patrons, it is a family-friendly event. It is a total, like, no schedules, no classes, no friggin' serious prepping nonsense. It's not...
Yeah, if we pick something to do, we decide it usually the night before over some drinks and a cigar.
Yeah, and the whole point of that camping trip has always been like, hey, I set out because like the first time we did the Matter of Fact summer camp, I'd gone to prepper camp several years, and I never managed to convince my wife or daughter to come. It was the prepper thing. It was the guys trip, even though there were girls that came too. And I set out to make Matter of Fact summer camp the thing you bring your spouses and your kids to, the thing that you come out to, and it's like, hey, we're just vacation with a big group of friends. That, and when it's an interesting conversation when somebody says, how do you know each other? Because that's things go off the rails a little bit. But it is that thing that is no expectations, no pressure. Just come out and hang out and get to know people that are you probably have some common ground with as far as interest, mindset, and everything else. Yeah. But it's been the coolest experience to me to watch every year. A few more people come out, and a few more people manage to convince their wives and their kids to come with them, or their husbands and kids. That's fun too.
Yeah, and bring your dog.
Yeah,
a lot of us do.
Bring dogs if you have them.
As many dogs as possible.
I
will pet all of the dogs.
I have it on good faith that one of our campers who we missed last year, but she'd come the previous 2 years. She's coming, and I'm hoping she's bringing both of her beagles.
Yes.
Oh, they're freaking adorable. They're loud as hell, but they're adorable.
Yeah,
they're beagles.
As I said, they're beagles. They're part hound. Yes. They're just gonna do the thing.
All right, so that's one thing. A week from today will be the 18th. That will probably be our last show for the year. I cannot envision us doing anything on Christmas Day because I'll wind up dead.
I have a Christmas party Christmas Eve, 2 Christmas Day, and 1 the Friday after Christmas Day after I go to work.
Yeah, we'll probably skip the week of Christmas. Whether or not we do something will be totally contingent upon, I guess up to what we feel, but certainly not a formalized show. Maybe some quick little blasts or some social media stuff here or there. I mean, we've got to get pictures of the two of us LARPing Rebel Raider stuff because it should be here by Christmas.
My app says it shipped. I don't have the tracking number yet, but that tells me that they have at least printed the label.
Excellent.
Which means I have to do fitness things in his kit to prove it out.
Yep, I just need to get my wife to take a picture of me sitting in front of the Christmas tree wearing a plate carrier with nods.
That sounds like a fantastic idea.
Doesn't it, though?
Waiting for Santa.
So, like I said, the week of Christmas will probably skip. The Thursday after that is actually New Year's Day, and I will be off work that day. So
I'm off work that day. I don't know, but I'll be available at my normal scheduled time.
We'll figure something out, whether we bump the time or whatever, but we'll figure something out. But I just want to kind of front load that to everybody. The week of Christmas, I just don't anticipate us doing a show unless we get really bored, because we have spouses, and I don't think they're going to tolerate that very well.
Yeah, spouses and family obligations do come first, as we tell people in the Patreon chat all the time. Family first.
All right, one last peruse through the comments. Jeff asked, are we doing prepper camp? I don't anticipate doing prepper camp.
I was not planning to because of limited vacation time.
Yeah, for me, honestly, it's just having done prepper camp for several years. The last year we went more than anything else just to visit with everybody.
Mm-hmm.
And I do more of that in more of a format that I want to at the Matter of Fact summer camp.
True.
And I see most of the same people at the Matter of Fact summer camp. So I don't know. Going to prepper camp, honestly, is just, I got a lot more out of it the first couple years I went. But I also feel like once I got to a certain point, like most of the information being provided was kind of aimed more at beginners, and I don't know. One of those things.
Makes sense.
But anyway, Nick said you were off work that day, so am I. Or not Nick, Rachel.
I am off work that day. I am Nick. Morgan says maybe a book review? Perhaps. I'll give it a read. All right.
Yeah, Jeff Jag saying just going to do summer camp from now on. I mean, I will just say that for anybody that has not done summer camp that, is among the patrons, I have never heard anybody come away saying, oh, that was a waste of time. It's always a lot of fun. And we try to go see cool places. Like last year we were in Raggle Fraggle saying you got a little bit of a little bit of feedback in your mic.
Yeah, it's my boiler kicked on. It does weird things to my mic. I try to catch it, but I missed it this time.
Yeah, it happens. All right. Well, I guess we'll go ahead and punt this one out the door. I get burnout. Nick gets burnout. Everybody gets burnout. Got to deal with it. Got to get rid of it. Got to friggin' push through it, because we all got way too many people depending on us and way too much stuff we're responsible for to let it eat us alive or hold us down for too long. But it is worth pointing out that, as much as it pains me to admit it, ramrodding it down perpetually forever to the end of time just doesn't work.
Yeah, probably not.
No, it doesn't. I tried real hard to make it work. It doesn't work forever. Sooner or later, you gotta deal with it.
But did you try a bigger hammer?
Yes.
Damn.
Percussive maintenance does not work on stress.
Unfortunate. Well,
long term, it does not work on stress.
Yeah, that's probably true.
One of these days, we're going to have to get our resident mental health professional back on the show to talk through all the things I'm not qualified to talk about, unless it's unhealthy coping mechanisms and dark humor. I can talk about that.
Well, I mean, growing up, everybody developed some of those.
I mean, at least the fun people did.
The fun people definitely do. You can always tell who hasn't almost died a few times by how they react to anything.
We might have to add that to the topic list.
All
right. Matter of fact, going out the door. Have fun. Take care of yourselves. We'll see y'all in another week, and probably not for the week of Christmas. And that's okay, because you can hang out with the other fat guy with the beard instead of me. And we will pick you up after the New Year's.
Yep.
Good night, everybody.
Night.